Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والعاقبة للمتقين، ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وبعد. Dear beloved brothers and sisters everywhere, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda. I would like to remind you with our contact informations. I would like to begin with the phone numbers. Area code 002, then 0238555248 or 249. And the email address is ask@huda.tv, and the Facebook page is www.facebook.com/msalahofficial. And as I promised last time, we resumed posting pre-recorded episodes of Ask Huda, half hour each, in order to answer the questions which are posted on the Facebook page. Barakallahu feekum. Normally we begin with something interesting or something that has happened, and we shed some light on it as we did a few weeks ago. But in the last days we have witnessed a terrible thing has happened amongst many things. The Israeli Zionist IDF, they call it Israeli Defense Forces, and I don't know why they call it defense. Rather, they should call it offensive, because they're always on the offensive. They offend everybody. They offend everybody. They launch a unilateral preemptive airstrike against civilians in Gaza, the besieged poor Gaza, leaving scores dead and wounded. So far, until this moment, the exact figures, until before the program, there are 440 innocent people wounded, civilians, 52 dead, amongst and 13 children. 13 children. I would like to show the images, the horrible images of some innocent babies and children. I would like to give them as a gift to the American administration, to the United Nations, and the Security Council, and say, how do you consider this and how do you rate it? The images of the babies who have been killed. You know, we used to see these images and pictures, homes, government buildings being destroyed. I'm still waiting for the images of the children, which when you see, it's hard to sleep after seeing so. And of course I posted this on my page, on my Facebook page, and I quoted some quotes from the Old Testament, from Joshua, which explained the nature of these guys, the terrorist nature of these guys and their belief. Why did they do that? And stemming from what? Stemming from a belief that their God has ordered them to cleanse the city, to kill everybody, men, women, children, old and young. This is exactly what it says in Joshua chapter 6 verse 16. This is one chapter, and there are other quotes as well. It says, kill everybody, destroy everything in the city, including these innocent babies. I don't know what to say, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy them. Imagine, brothers and sisters, those are your children. Imagine your children get to see these images, what kind of security, what kind of hope they will have in this life when the whole world is acting as deaf and dumb, is not doing anything. Not only that, furthermore, the Israeli ambassador to Washington just said a few hours ago that they got a full support from the White House and from the American president, and they gave them a green light, and they told them you have a free hand in Gaza. Like Gaza is a pen that have some sheep or goats, you have a free hand. You can slaughter as many as you want. You can cleanse it. You can kill everybody because these are not human. A message to the American people that look where your money has been invested. Your tax money has been invested in killing innocent people, in starving people to death, in destroying hospitals, in killing children, men and women who have nothing to do with this whole thing. Launching these preemptive strikes coincides with every time there is an election in the Zionist country, in the Zionist state. So the nominees, they bargain by who's going to kill more Palestinians, who's going to destroy more homes, who's going to massacre more and more people, then he's a winner. It is very unfortunate. Among the reports also that, subhanAllah, Hurricane Sandy, before Hurricane Sandy, there was in the blueprint a planned attack on Gaza. So the hurricane came to slow down and to postpone this attack. Subhanallah. And now after the American election is over and with the new president, we have 7 to 8 million Muslims there. What are their voices? Those guys who are campaigning to vote for President Obama. I believe once on Al Arabiya channel I was interviewed and they asked me, whom would you vote for? I say, it doesn't make any difference whether it's Romney or Obama. These are all employees. They just execute the blueprint which is drawn to them by the Zionist lobby. It is very unfortunate. Our voice is not heard. Our brothers and sisters are being killed, brutally killed, merciless, being massacred, and unfortunately we're not doing enough. I would like for every one of the viewers today, inshallah, to copy these images and send copies to the United Nations, to the White House, and to every press, Washington Post, New York Times, every press agency. Send these images, these horrible images of children, and say these are human beings too. According to the Human Rights Resolution and the amendment in the UN, they have the right to live. They have the right to live not any kind of life, to live a respected life, a peaceful and secure life, to live like humans, to go to schools with security, to eat good food, to grow up and to be treated like human beings. They are being deprived from all of that. And furthermore, they're being labeled as terrorists. All these numbers and more to come, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them, they're still being labeled in the media which is owned, controlled and ran by the Zionists themselves. Every powerful and influential media is controlled by these guys. So what do we expect from them? And the wealthy Muslims, their money is wasted in vain, in nothing. It is very unfortunate. We hear about sad stories that wealthy people wasting their money here and there. Somebody is building the tallest building in the world, which we don't need, and somebody is buying a zoo, and somebody is throwing money in the street. These are Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask us about them. When somebody in one lecture said, were you Palestinian? I said, no. I said, why do you ask? He said, because you speak about Palestine a lot. I said, every Muslim should speak about Palestine, about Kashmir, about Afghanistan, about Iraq, about Syria. By the way, one of the reasons of this heinous war against Gaza is to distract the attention from what's happening in Syria, where the Free Army, insha'Allah, hopefully in a few days or a few weeks, will liberate Damascus as well. And we'll see this criminal, war criminal, Bashar, running away perhaps to Iran or here or there. He will find somebody to host him. So the distracted attention now, we're looking at the innocent kids who are being massacred. And look how coward these guys are. They hide in the sewage. They hide in bunkers. They hide because the Palestinians are striking some rockets here and there. They call it the right to defend themselves, but you took the initiative and you started this preemptive strike while besieging these guys for several years, and the whole world is watching. Yeah, there have been several attempts to lift the sanction and to bring Gaza and its people back to where it belongs, but so far there was no successful attempt. So anyway, brothers and sisters, what I request from you besides a dua, of course now, when I request you all, while we are in the month of Muharram, it's one of the sacred months, to make dua, especially at night, and I request all the imams to make dua and qunut in the prayers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy Allah's enemies. May Allah destroy His enemies. May Allah destroy these guys and make them an example. May Allah destroy them like how He destroyed the people of Ad and Thamud and Lut. Allahumma ameen. It's not a big deal for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to destroy them, to send a storm to destroy them, or in a way or another. وَلِلَّهِ جُنُودُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. No one really knows the hosts and the soldiers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala but Him. We want to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we really care by making dua for our brothers and sisters. These innocent people are under fire for the past several days, and Allah knows how long will it take. Allah will cast fear in the hearts of the enemies, as they're so frightened now from these innocent people who have no weapons like the others have, or military like the others have. But subhanallah, Allah will cast fear in their hearts. Our role, brothers and sisters, is to share this on every blog, Facebook, Twitter, send mass emails, send these pictures, horrible pictures, to the international media, and raise your voice. Raise the awareness of the Gaza massacre. And inshaAllah, beginning tomorrow, we'll launch a campaign again. It is very unfortunate that we have to do this every year, every once in a while, because before we had a campaign about the Gaza massacre. We'll launch a campaign tomorrow, inshaAllah Azza Jal, to raise the awareness of this massacre and what we need to do. And until then, dua. And if there is a way to support them by sending the food supply and the medical supply through the Arab Medical Syndicate, do not hesitate to do so. Palestine is not only for the Palestinians, as some ignorant leaders say. No. Palestine and Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa belongs to every Muslim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Isra, Subhana alladhi asra bi'abidihi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, peace be upon him, min al-Masjid al-Harami ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa alladhi barakna hawlahu linuriyahu min ayatina. Praise be to Allah who took His servant Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in a night journey from al-Masjid al-Haram in Mecca to al-Masjid al-Aqsa, the farthest mosque in Jerusalem. الذي باركنا حوله. This whole land is blessed except for the occupation forces, which will never be blessed. They are the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if Mecca belongs to every Muslim, and every Muslim cares and should care about the Kaaba and should care about the prophetic masjid, we should also care about Jerusalem. It belongs to every Muslim. And we should teach our children and the youth who've been occupied with the PlayStation games and the Wii and all of that. There is a much bigger game that's going on. We could have been in this situation, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We have to be a part of this ummah. This is a single united ummah. If any part is aching or suffering, the whole ummah should respond. So inshallah, tonight in the night prayer, make dua. اللهم ارم الظالمين بالظالمين وأخرجنا من بينهم سالمين. اللهم اهلك أعداء الإسلام والمسلمين. Make dua. This dua will cast horror and fear in their hearts. And I would like to extend my condolence to the martyrs' family and share with them the good news that, as I posted on the page, and I hope everybody will get a chance to read the post, ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون فرحين بما آتاهم الله من فضله ويستبشرون بالذين لم يلحقوا بهم من خلفهم ألا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون This is the difference, that we all as Muslims love to die for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially if we're not oppressing, we're defending ourselves, we're defending our belief and our faith. Don't you think that those who die for the sake of Allah are dead? Nay, they are the ultimately living ones. Bal ahya, they are indeed alive. Where and what kind of life? عند ربهم, with the Lord's, يرزقون, being provided in paradise. As the Prophet ﷺ said, إن أرواح الشهداء في حواصل طيور خضر تسرح في الجنة. The souls of the martyrs, those who die for the sake of Allah, are in the stomach of green birds in paradise. They are wandering until the day of judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me the shahada, and grant those who love to die as shuhada as-shahada. Allahumma ameen. Barakallahu feekum, and we'll be more than happy to start taking your phones, your phones and concerns in solidarity with Gaza, and also to answer your pending questions and upcoming questions as well. Don't forget the dua. It is the sharpest weapon, and this is the least you can do in solidarity with your brothers and sisters, not only in Gaza, in Syria, in Kashmir, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Myanmar, of course, everywhere where Muslims are being oppressed and persecuted. May Allah grant us victory. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Khurshid from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Sheikh, I want to ask the two questions.
No.
First of all, in this Hanafi Masla, when they pray, they don't say Ameen, okay, this is Sunnah, but they don't say Ameen after Imam Sharif, and even they don't read after Imam. There is a waqfa, but they don't read. So what I'm confused at, is this Salah valid for Hanafi Masla or what? Please guide us.
Second question,
that one of the oldest person of my family was praying Asr yesterday, and he made 3 sajda. And after that, when he said Salam Alaikum, after that we said that you have made 3 sajda, so just make this, what do you say?
forgetful prostration, sujood al-sahw.
Yeah. So he said, okay, if I made 3 sajda, I'll repeat the salah again. And he stand up and he repeat the asr salah again.
Okay.
So can you guide me that what is the correct thing if such mistakes happen?
Okay. As a matter of fact, Brother Khurshid, as a matter of fact, in Hanafi madhab, it is also prescribed to say Ameen. You've been misinformed in a particular thing. In Hanafi madhab, they do say Ameen, but they do not say it out loud, because there are a bunch of hadith pertaining...
Shaykhana, I was in India, and I left India at the age of, say, 28 years. Nobody taught me about this to say Ameen, or nobody taught me to say that, to repeat Alham Sharif.
Okay, I know. What I'm saying, Jazakallah khairan, thank you so much. What I'm saying is, not because you are not taught so, you should think so. In fact, it is in all the madhahib, saying Ameen is taught to the Prophet ﷺ by Jibreel alayhi salam. And the Prophet ﷺ has said in the hadith, whosoever says Ameen, and Ameen means Allahumma stajib, O Allah, answer this dua. Whosoever's ta'meen coincides with the ta'meen of al-malaika, his sins will be forgiven. So there are great verses pertaining saying Ameen and saying it out loud along with the Imam, where the angels too will join saying Ameen, because Al-Fatiha, the opening of the book, is all about making dua, praising Allah, exalting Allah, glorifying Allah, then making one single dua, which is guide us to the straight path. So when the Imam says so, you say Ameen, the Imam and the followers. And that's why it is not prescribed to say Ameen outside the Salah. Many people, when the Fatiha is recited or if they are reading their sabaq, they say غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ Ameen outside the Salah. No. Ameen is prescribed only to be recited in the Salah. If you are an Imam if you are a ma'moom, if you are praying by yourself or in congregation, everybody should say Ameen. It has been narrated by a bunch of companions of the Prophet ﷺ that تأمين الصحابة كان يرج المسجد رجا, which means the saying of Ameen, when the companions used to say Ameen, it used to ring the masjid. They used to say it in a very loud tone. Of course, as it is our tradition, when we quote the sound reference and we say this is the opinion of the vast majority of the jurists based on this ahadith, one should not be prejudiced and say, no, I will start this, or my grandma taught me that. Rather, because we take our deen from the Prophet ﷺ. Pertaining Hajj, the Prophet ﷺ said, خُذُوا عَنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ. Pertaining Salah, he said, صَلُّوا كَمَا رَأَيْتُمُونِي أُصَلِّي. That's why in the series of the Prophet's prayer, I call it so because there is a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith, pray as you have seen me praying. So we call it the Prophet's prayer. Supported every move in the prayer, beginning with the takbir until taslim, with a reference, with a sound reference, and the views of the companions. And by the end, it's everybody's choice to do it or not to do it. But inshallah, we try to teach our viewers the right way. So saying Ameen is prescribed, and it's prescribed to say it out loud. Al-Fatiha, we'll talk about it inshallah after the short break, so please everybody stay tuned.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to all mankind. So the ummah, or the people of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are all mankind since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
Anger and violence have spilled over onto the
escalated into violent clashes between police and protesters.
over the government's plan to avoid default.
And we're also hearing of injuries on both.
Journalist Charlie McGrath says the cuts will heap further suffering on ordinary people.
For decades, but defense needs some.
This is a serious and big storm.
Join me as I explore pressing issues facing the Muslim world today. From the one-sided civil war in Syria to the genocide in Burma, from the Arab Spring to the elections in the US, and yes, even the Euro debt crisis in Greece. Honest reporting on a channel you can trust, and I won't leave an issue untouched. Don't miss the Ummah Tonight with me, Malik, on your favorite channel, Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Brother Khurshid, before the break, asked a couple of questions. We answered one. In the second part of the first one is pertaining reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. According to the vast majority of the jurists, Shafi'i, wa Malik, wa Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and others, it is a must for the Imam and the follower to recite Surah Al-Fatiha, for every musalli to recite Surah Al-Fatiha on their own in the fard and in the nafla prayer, because reciting Surah Al-Fatiha is a rukn. Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him, said if the person is praying in jama'ah, then the recitation of the Imam is a recitation for him. And he applies that to the loud and silent prayer. Silent in a sense, the person would recite but without a heard voice. There are many ahadith in this regard that shows that it is obligatory on every person to recite Surah Al-Fatiha on their own in every single rak'ah. One hadith which is narrated by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anh, in which he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever does not recite Surah Al-Fatiha in his prayer, فَهِيَ خِدَاج. The word khidaj means incomplete or insufficient. Incomplete or insufficient. So the right view is that whenever you recite, whenever you are praying by yourself, there is a general consensus that you should recite Surah Al-Fatiha on each and every single rak'ah in order for the prayer to be valid, because it's a rukn. And if you're praying fi jama'ah, in a congregational prayer, in the silent prayer, you should recite Surah Al-Fatiha on your own, because you don't hear the recitation of the Imam. What are you doing exactly standing throughout the standing process, doing nothing? Listening to what? You're not even listening to anything. You should recite Surah Al-Fatiha on your own. If you memorized a surah or ayat to be recited after the Fatiha in the first and the second rak'ah, it will be recommended to do so. It's a sunnah. And in the loud prayer, if the Imam gives you a chance after finishing his recitation, then you should recite Surah Al-Fatiha on your own as well. Barakallah fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahmed from Egypt.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Actually, Sheikh, mine is not a question, but I'm asking for an advice.
No.
Due to the situation of what is happening around us in the world with Syria and Egypt and Gaza and all this, I am a 24-year-old adult. I don't work, so I don't earn money to support these brothers of mine.
No.
What do you advise me to do? For me, my own mentality is to go there and help them. I've been wishing to do this since before Ramadan. But my mother objects it, and she says that I need to be sure about what I'm doing before I take a decision like this.
No.
So I want you to advise me, what should I do?
What you should do is obey your mother, and for the time being your dua will be sufficient, since you don't have any other means. Obey your mother because they are not in need for your physical existence. So it is not imminent. Rather, they are in need for the medical supply, for the food supply. So those who can afford that, they should do so. For energy, so they are in need for fuel, and in order to do that, we have to pay for it, of course. It was very unfortunate that the former regime, you said you're calling from Egypt, used to give the natural gas to Israel, to Tel Aviv, almost for free, cheaper than the production cost, while he deprived these guys from the gas. And subhanallah, look where are they right now. يُعِزُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُذِلُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. He gives honor and dignity to whomever he wills, and he humiliates whomever he wills. Those whom he supported against Muslims neglected him. They let him go down. They let him sink. كمثل الشيطان إذ قال للإنسان اكفر فلما كفر قال إني بريء منك. This is the same example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said when shaitan misleads and deceives his follower until he makes kufr in obedience to shaitan. When he does so, he says, I disown you. I have nothing to do with your sin. I am afraid of Allah and His punishment. So for those who are so eager to support them and they don't have access, they're exempt. But they are not exempt from making dua. As I said, a dua is the sharpest weapon. Do not belittle that. A dua is the sharpest weapon. If you know that you're involved in a sin that you normally do it, and you quit this sin with the intention of, Ya Allah, I'm repenting so that you can relieve our brothers from their burden and from the barbaric attack they're suffering and undergoing, that's a great deal. Because we have to know that the ummah will be punished. The ummah will be punished due to our sins. Zainab radiallahu anha, one of the mothers of the believers, said that the Prophet ﷺ once entered upon her and he was so worried and he said, "Woe to the Arab from an evil that has approached them," because he indicated that there is a puncture or a hole has been made in the wall that separates Gog and Magog from us. So she said, "Ya Rasulullah," trying to belittle their emergence. Even if not only a hole, if they come out, if they emerge, so what? أَنَهْلِكُ وَفِينَا الصَّالِحُونَ. We will never be destroyed while we have righteous people amongst us. And she means the Prophet ﷺ and his companions. And she asked this question as a rhetorical question. أَنَهْلِكُ وَفِينَا الصَّالِحُونَ. The Prophet ﷺ said, نَعَمْ إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ. Yes, we will be destroyed when evil becomes so widespread. Look at the amount of the nightclubs, bars, drinking, gambling in many Muslim countries. Prostitution in many Muslim countries. Recently, alhamdulillah, some countries started really resorting back to their deen. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless those who have been rightly guided, and may Allah guide everybody else who is still behind. But the ummah is far away from the teachings of its deen, from the Quran and from the Sunnah. In an attempt to achieve this, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on us. So a dua would lift the burden and lift the curse. So Brother Ahmed, make lots of dua and ask your mother to make dua as well. Barakallahu feekum. Ridwan, Sister Ridwan from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum, Ridwan.
Sheikh, I have two questions to ask.
Naam.
My first question is, if I want to pray Salatul Hajat, can I pray at any time? Because somebody told me that I should not pray after Fajr Salah and Asr Salah.
Okay. Ridwan, let me give you a good advice, inshallah. In the hadith, it describes the action of the Prophet ﷺ pertaining the haja or the need as follows. كان صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا حزبه أمر فزع إلى الصلاة. Whenever the Prophet ﷺ would face any matter that worries him, something serious or a threat, he would rush to pray. There is no specific prayer for the need. Yeah, there are some hadith, weak narrations, but you can simply pray anytime besides awqatul karaha. As you mentioned, one of them is after Fajr and until 15 to 20 minutes past sunrise. You shouldn't be praying during this time. So the other time is, of course, after Asr and until sunset. So if you need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fulfill any of your needs, just pray. Mutlaqun nafl, general nafl, or the fard, or the emphatic or the non-emphatic sunan. And in your sujood, increase making dua, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fulfill your need. Brother Khurshid's second question is, somebody offered the prayer and he made 3 sajdas. Of course, out of forgetfulness. Because if he does so deliberately, then the prayer will be invalid. The prayer will be invalid. So what happens when you are informed after the prayer that you prayed extra, whether extra sajda, extra rak'ah, or a whole unit of the prayer? Then it will be sufficient to make 2 sujood, 2 prostrations, which are known as sujood al-sahw. You see, I believe in the last episode I mentioned that when people do not know, it costs them a lot. It costs them more than if you spend 10 minutes. It would only take 10 minutes. It will only take you 10 minutes to learn about sujood al-sahw. While people who have lived for decades trying to rectify errors in their prayer by making up the whole prayer. They think this is better. Of course this is not better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have caused His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to forget several times. Once by missing the middle tashahhud. Once by forgetting 2 units and making the middle tashahhud and making taslim. And once by praying an extra rak'ah. All of that to teach us that what to do in order to rectify any error in the salah, whether by adding or by missing anything in the prayer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Malik from Iraq. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead.
Alhamdulillah. Sheikh, I just want to, congratulate you first that you started the program, mashallah, very good. And we just need, we as an ummah need this sort of, the right picture of what's going on. Normally, as we told that the Jainism, they are not showing the right picture. What you said, I just went to the website and I posted my comment to the whitehouse.gov. My question is this, I have one question related to Muharram, that for 9th and 10th Muharram, if I'm going to travel in the Asian countries, there is 1 day difference for the Muharram. So if I want to fast, how should I fast? Shall I fast in that country, 8, 9, 10? It's still considered as 9 or 10? So just guide me for this.
Okay, Barakallah Fiq. Thank you for the congratulation. Well, the program began 7 years ago. Alhamdulillah, shukla. Perhaps this is the 8th. MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. May Allah bless the channel, its owners, and really there are no owners. People who are supporting, everybody is an owner. Alhamdulillah wa shukrullah. This is not a typical TV channel. This is something that Allah is running, subhanallah. Sometimes, many times, we went through situations where we thought this is it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there and has been always there. And we invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to maintain this channel to spread the light in every home. Allahumma ameen. As far as the question, I will answer it inshallah after a few phone calls. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Aisha from United Arab Emirates.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam.
Go ahead, sister, and present your question, please.
Yes, I'm very happy to see you, to talk to you.
Barakallahu fiki.
And Sheikh, if you don't know, I'm here. Are you born Muslim?
Okay.
Are you born Muslim?
Me?
Yes.
Okay, if this question, if the answer will help you, yes, I'm born Muslim, alhamdulillah wa shukrullah.
You are from Egypt.
Yes, I am from Egypt, alhamdulillah wa shukrullah.
Your wife was from Egypt.
Do you have a question pertaining fiqh, halal or haram? I'll be more than happy to answer it, inshallah.
But I just want to talk to you.
Barakallah feek. Jazakillahu khairan, Sister Aisha. Thank you so much. Barakallah feek. May Allah bless you and your family. Next, please. Oh, okay. Furqan, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Furqan from the KSA, welcome to the program.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question that my son, he's working in an American company, and he got an offer from Al Raji Bank in Riyadh. So is it allowed to work in, because we want to leave the American, why, like living in Saudi Arabia and working for Yahud and Nasara, so it's better to go with Raji. Is it okay? Is it halal?
Did you say Al-Razi or you mean Al-Rajhi?
Al-Rajhi, yeah.
Al-Rajhi.
It is an investment
Masraf.
company.
Naam. Okay.
Yeah, Al-Rajhi.
Naam.
Yeah.
May Allah bless you and your son. That's a good question. Let me tell you this. As long as the job is halal, whether he's working for the Americans, the French, or whatever, then the job is halal, then taking the job, maintaining the job is halal. Now we're talking about where he feels better, when he feels his heart has more comfort and tranquility, working for 100% halal banking system. And I was blessed to meet the owner, and mashallah la quwwata illa billah, I hope the ummah have 10, 20 people like him. May Allah bless him and his family. May Allah bless him in his wealth. Allahumma ameen. So if you feel that your heart is going there, then pray istikhara, and I will support you to move. But as long as you're working in a Muslim country, even for a company that is an American, no problem, as long as the job is halal. What really matters is what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing exactly. If you're working in an oil industry, then that's fine. Meanwhile, somebody may be working for a Muslim, but in a haram job. And if you have another offer to work for a non-Muslim in a halal job, you should make a move right away. May Allah make it easy for your son Furqan to make the right decision. Pray istikhara, please. Brother Muhammad, United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Yes, I have a question regarding a hadith that I read. There's a hadith that says that the lifespan of my ummah will not exceed past 1500 years.
1500 years?
Yes. I don't know if you heard this hadith.
No, never heard of it. There is a hadith, أعمار أمتي بين الستين والسبعين. The lifespan of my ummah, the average people will live to 60 or to 70 years, each person. But 1500 years, I can tell you this is not a hadith, because it's been already...
Sorry, there's a hadith that the life of this ummah.
I know. It can be a hadith for a simple reason. Because when Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and said, tell me about as-sa'a, when will it be? The day of judgment, when will it occur? He said, mal mas'ulu anha bi'a'lama min as-sa'il. The one who's questioned about it knows no better than the questioner. Yani, neither the Prophet nor Jibreel knows when will the day of judgment take place. So how would he tell exactly that the lifespan of the ummah is 1500 years, then the day of... Because if the lifespan is 1500 years or whatever, then afterward is the day of judgment. Okay? Barakallahu feek, Muhammad. Jazakallahu khair. There are no hadith pertaining the exact date and the time of the end of life or the world. Rather, there are many hadith pertaining the signs, whether major or minor signs of the day of judgment. Any person would say, I predict that day of judgment will take place on this date or approximately this year. That's a plain lie. That's a plain lie. قُلْ إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. The answer is, say certainly its knowledge is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وينزل الغيث ويعلم ما في الأرحام وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت. This ayah is by the end of Surah Luqman. These are 5 things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve their knowledge only for Him. The first is the knowledge of the Sa'ah, the end of time, the end of life. Brother Aziz from the KSA.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Aziz.
How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Barakallahu feek.
Sheikh, actually, I have one question to ask you. If one husband tell to his wife that I free you, like this.
Okay.
His intention is not to give him divorce. And he didn't use the word divorce,
No.
So he just said to his wife that I free you, free you, suppose that. So is it means a divorce occurred, or what I have to do? What will happen actually?
Okay.
That's my question.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. At-talaq or divorce is given by one of 2 means. A straightforward, plain, uttering the word of divorce. Anta taliq, you're divorced. Or a metaphor. A word which is ambiguous, which may mean divorce or may mean otherwise. If somebody says, you're free, or join your family, or do not stay in my house, we should ask him, what do you mean by that? What's your intent? If he was saying you're free, of course he's not saying you're free because she's a slave. She's not a slave. She's not a servant. She's a wife. Ask him, what do you mean by that? If his intent was, you're divorced, you're free from my marriage commitment, then it's him and his intention. That's why every time somebody asks us about a divorce case, Ya Sheikh, somebody said to his wife this and this and that, I said, who is that person? Where is he at? He's my friend, he's my colleague, he's my brother, he's my sister's, he's my in-law. I said, I'm not listening to the case. I got to listen to the statement by the person who said it in order to ask him, what was your intention? Many times somebody say, somebody divorced his wife and he was very angry. How angry? How do you know that he was angry? And how do you know the level of his anger? How do you know the case of Ighlaq, that he was so confused, he didn't know what he was saying? Were you with him and cut open his chest and know his intention? Of course not. Even his wife would not be able to give the exact description of his intention. The one who heard it, it's got to be him. What did you mean by that? So, at-talaq, lafzun, either sarih or kinaya. In the case of at-talaq al-sarih, where the person says, you're divorced, that's it. He says, well, I was joking, it was a part of the play, I was doing that. It doesn't matter. There are three things where, whether you're joking or serious, it counts as serious. And it falls effective. One of them is divorce. Okay? In the case of al-kinaya, or if somebody says a word which means one of two things, or three or four things, we got to ask him. One of them is divorce, we got to ask him, did you mean divorce? No, I didn't mean divorce. Khalas, it's him and his intention. So maybe he lied. The burden will be on him, and the sin will be his, and the wife will be innocent and pure from that commitment. Okay, we ran out of time. Please, brothers and sisters, do not forget to make dua for your brothers and sisters in Gaza, in Kashmir, in Syria, and everywhere, of course. And do not forget, today is the 4th of Muharram. Inshallah, in a few days, we should witness the 10th of Muharram. And the recommendation is to fast on the 9th and the 10th of Muharram. There was a question by Brother Malik from Iraq. Inshallah, I'll begin by answering this question next episode. But remember that fasting on the 10th of Muharram has a great virtues, which is expiating and forgiving the sins of the entire past year. That will be the subject to begin with, inshallah, on Tuesday. Until then, I leave you in the care of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate